What up, y'all? It's your boy Dawson from D&D TV. Thank you for rating, commenting, and subscribing. Everybody who's donated, those of y'all who will, you know I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get into this story. Now, you remember the story I did a couple of months ago about the pastor out in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, Pastor Millie Morris Freeman. There he is right here, Pastor Millie Morris Freeman, and here he is with his two daughters and his wife. Now, let me refresh your memory about this story. Pastor Millie Morris Freeman had a 28-year-old woman in his church. I think then she was 27 years old. She came to him and she said that she wanted deliverance. And he said, okay, we'll go through a deliverance session. And she had a one-on-one deliverance session with this young 27-year-old woman in his church. And he proceeded to pray with her. He gave her something to drink. And once she began to drink whatever he gave her, she fell out. Now we know, according to court documents, he drugged her. That's why she fell out. And so he proceeded to, while she was knocked out cold, to anoint her breasts and touch parts of her body and put oil on them. When the lady woke up, she noticed that there was oil in strange places on her body, but she said she didn't think nothing of it at the time. She felt a little uncomfortable, but she was still feeling uneasy and like heavy spirits were on her, and she wanted to go again for another deliverance session with Pastor Freeman. And this is where everybody kind of got freaked out. They're like, okay, the man gave you something, you fell out. It wasn't the Holy Spirit that knocked you out. You drank something he gave you and you fell out. And now you're going back to him again. Man, y'all church people, something else. So when she went back to Pastor Millie Freeman for the second time, he proceeded to go through the same ritual, praying with her. He gave her something to drink. She fell out again, but this time he went a step further than he did last time. He took off of her clothes and he anointed her breasts. He anointed her other private areas, and he put oil on those areas too and began to insert something in that young 28-year-old woman. And now he has been found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman under the guise of religion. Yes, this pastor is maybe spending up to 5 years in prison. That's according to what the attorney Mike Freeman said. He's the prosecutor. He said the state will be asking for the maximum, which is 5 years in prison for this disgraced pastor, Millie Morris Freeman. A jury deliberated for less than an hour before they found Pastor Freeman guilty of 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Now I'm going to let you all watch this video, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary.
Turning to our other top story tonight, a pastor at a church in Brooklyn Center is found guilty of sexual assault.
Now, this happened when 56-year-old Millie Freeman was in a prayer session alone with a parishioner. Fox 9's Paul Bloom has the story.
This is an ugly case. Hennepin County attorney pointing out that Minnesota has special laws protecting church members from pastoral abuse, and that this case is a blatant violation that warrants serious consequences.
This is really offensive.
Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman tells us his prosecutors will be asking for the maximum. Nearly 5 years in prison for disgraced pastor Millie Freeman. A jury deliberating for less than an hour, finding Freeman guilty, 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. The 56-year-old, well known in the Twin Cities Liberian immigrant community, abusing his leadership position by drugging a female member of his church and violating her with oils under the guise of performing a, quote, religious deliverance. The victim telling authorities that she viewed Millie Freeman as her spiritual father.
We have special laws in Minnesota because the relationship between a spiritual faith leader and a parishioner is a special relationship, and it ought not to be abused.
Millie Freeman has been in jail since May. His Grace Mountaineer Tabernacle Church, once housed here in this Brooklyn Center office building, is no more. His 28-year-old victim testifying against him. A key piece of evidence, a secretly recorded conversation between Freeman and the woman where he admitted touching her breasts, telling her that things, quote, happened during the deliverance event, and that you, quote, don't ask. And this abuse occurred when the woman was alone with her pastor. According to courtroom testimony, both Millie Freeman and his wife tried to convince this woman not to tell her story to police. Millie Freeman scheduled to be sentenced next month. Reporting from inside the government center, Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
All right, y'all, let's go in. Now, first of all, let me say this. I want to commend the young woman for coming out and saying what happened to her. And I think what we're going to begin to see more is that people, with the rise of social media and people who are tired of being walked all over in churches around the world, we're going to start seeing more people exposing other people, as you all like to say, and reporting these stories to the authorities and to the news stations, because people are tired. And I think now what we're seeing is a generation of people who don't have to sit there and take sexual abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse. This now is the generation, and the generation before, they're speaking out. They're not holding back. They're getting on social media. They're recording you. They're putting things out there and let you know, look, you can't do this to me. And when you have pastors and first ladies or people in church, people who have authority, people who have power, and they abuse their power, that has to be talked about, because there are so many people in churches who are older now. Some of them are the age of Pastor Freeman here, 56 and older, who were raped, who were cheated on, who contracted sexually transmitted disease, who stayed there for, just for the family. I can't divorce him. I can't divorce her. Let's stay here for the kids. Let's stay here for the church. Living in, as what I call them, hellish marriages. Guys don't even sleep in the same room. You don't even speak to each other. They're just keeping up appearances. And when you get out in public, everyone thinks that's pastor and first lady, or that's elder and so-and-so, or that's prophetess in this. Come on, man. Yeah, I told y'all the layers are coming off. People gonna find out the truth. And for a pastor to feel comfortable to go through a deliverance session and to sexually assault a woman who was drugged, you drugged this woman. And to put your fingers, to do what you did to her, 5 years, I honestly, I think he should get a little bit more. I'm sorry. I mean, come on, bro. It's just really, it's sad to me, because this woman looked up to him as a spiritual father, like so many women across the world do to some of these men of God. My spiritual daddy, my daddy. I'm going to talk to my spiritual father. And I told y'all, some of these people are not even called to preach. Some of these people, you picked the wrong P. You should have been a pimp. You should have been a porn star. You should have been something else. The preacher thing, that wasn't for you. Nah. Because a lot of time, and there's so many stories out here. Some of these stories I can't even get to. Maybe the other vloggers are getting to them, and I see they're doing a great job at doing this stuff too. But look, y'all, there are so many people in the church who are saying we're tired of this. We're tired of the hypocrisy. We're tired of the lies. There are women who are saying, Pastor, you said that you gonna divorce your wife and you gonna marry me and all this stuff, and y'all gonna separate, and all you been doing is just stringing me on, and we've been having sex for the past 2 to 3 years, and you still with first lady. There are women in churches like that, y'all. Women who know that the pastor is married. And I'm gonna tell y'all women something, he's not leaving his wife. You are just a jump off. He jumps on and jumps off whenever he wants a release. That's all you are. And here go Uncle Dawson, Big Brother Dawson. I'm going to tell you the truth. You can get caught up out there if you want and go get a baby bond. And as we can see now, he'll disown you and that baby. His ministry ain't going to fall. All he going to get up there and do is pull one of those, what did the dude, Jim Baker act? He going to do what Swagger did. They're going to get before. Come on, y'all. We've seen this time and time again. Because people going to look and say, they're going to, in most cases, they'll blame the pastor a little bit. But they're going to blame you and say, why did you sleep with this man knowing that he was married? Even the women going to jump on his side. And there's some women I'm talking to, y'all. It was a young lady who wrote me telling me about she wanted to expose a pastor. I say, look, I don't do that over here. If I can't pull a news video behind it or have some concrete documentation, no, we don't do that here. There's some other vloggers who do it. You can go over there with them. Not here. And I told her, I said, but if you having that kind of relationship with a pastor, and he's a pastor, a popular pastor in a mega church, it'll expose itself. You don't have to send me no videos and no screenshots and send Denise and me some stuff. We don't need to see that. It'll expose itself. Trust me. Dawson is not desperate for a story. Seriously. So I'm the wrong YouTuber for that. But I want y'all to know, we are in a time now where people are not holding back. There's been so many rapes, molestations, verbal abuse, mental abuse, assaults that have taken place in churches. And sometimes the pushback that you all feel from the community and from individuals when you're witnessing to them, it's not that they don't want God. They just don't want to be messed up with church people. It's not that they don't want, and I told you all before, it's not that they're anti-Christ. Some of them are just anti the church or church people. That's what they're anti. And you want to send them all to hell, not knowing that they lived through hell by going through stuff like going to a pastor and having him sexually assault you, or basically inserting things in you, rape you and drug you. How do you come back from that? You can't shout and run around the church and get over that. You can't touch your neighbor and tell him, touch your neighbor, he doing it for me. Count to 3, he doing it for me. All these spiritual cliches we have to hide our humanity, and you can't hide it. All of this stuff we have to get over the abuse that many of us have faced in churches. All the stuff that's coming out in our adulthood. Can't stay committed in a relationship. You married, thinking the marriage gonna save you. Oh, and we gonna, once we get in this, and you find out you're married, but you're still whoring around. You got married, the church told you to get married, and you still having sex with men and women. You're married, the church told you to get married, and you're still trying to go with underage girls and boys. Come on, y'all, this stuff is going on in the church. All you gotta do is Google this mess. People send me videos all the time, and I just sit back and I look at it. And that's why I say all the other vloggers who do stuff like on this, I'm happy, do it. People need to see it because we're tired. We're tired that y'all can get up there and preach hell and damnation, but you don't have no PC, no penis control. God can't control it. You can't control it. And you do any and everything. Got children all around. Cheat on your wife. You got daughters, Pastor Freeman, who are looking up to you. Look at your beautiful daughters right there. How are they going to look up to their daddy, who's supposed to be the man who showed them how a man is supposed to treat women? Now, these women could possibly in their relationships accept the same thing off of their husbands because their daddy has been an example of what a man does. This is what my daddy did. So if my daddy did it and, my husband do it, well, I guess it's not too bad because my daddy did it and my mama stayed with him. Women who stay with men like this, like his wife, like Pastor Freeman's wife is right there with him. Stay by his side. Oh, I don't believe it happened. Oh, it happened. The girl had the recorded voices, his voice recorded. He admitted to doing some of the stuff. They used that in the whole deliberation, all of that. She knew what was going on. And like I said before, I don't know if I said it, but I don't think that was his first time doing it. And we get mad when people say, I don't go to church. We get mad when people say, oh, well, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. Or I serve God on my own, or I'm good off that. And y'all want to use this thing. Oh, you going to hell. You going to bust hell wide open. Well, damn it. If we going, you going too. If we going, you going too. Yeah, we got scholarships. You're not going to be able to watch people get sexually assaulted, watch people get abused, watch people get abused mentally, financially in the church. And you sit there and want to use this whole thing. Oh, the devil gonna get you. Oh, God gonna get you. You going to hell. What do you say to a person who has sat through something like what this pastor put this young woman through? You don't think that was hell? To have your pastor drug you and then basically sexually assault you while you're unconscious? You don't think that's hell for these children who were raped and molested, girls and boys in the church, and all y'all want to do is send people to hell? These women who have HPV, herpes, AIDS, HIV, all these diseases that y'all don't even want to talk about, want to put some olive oil on it and say run around the church 3 times. because we don't want to face the truth. We don't want to face the truth. All of these spiritual cliches, and your prophet is this, and your apostle this, and your bishop this, and all this power you got in your church, and people can leave your church and go participate in risky behavior. People can leave your church and go do murder, suicide, go commit power. And I'm going to hit on this thing and I'm off of this. This whole thing, oh, you know, God gave me, or I had a dream, and all this thing about discernment. We got to have discernment, y'all. We got to have it. Nobody in the church or nobody in the town who were sold, you holy rollers, nobody in Minnesota, nobody who see all around the world, you prophets, and you always got a prophecy of what's going to happen in Thailand and Dubai and what's going to happen in Hawaii and, you know, Miami. But you didn't have a prophecy of what's going on in Minnesota. You couldn't see that. People who listen to me, stop being fooled. The reason why I do my show is what I've always stated in many of my videos. I want you all to wake up and to begin to use your mind. As I've stated before, these people will continue to get paid while you get played, and they become rich off of your naivete. Some of these people, they don't care. It's not all pastors. It's not all people in leadership. It's a great deal of them. But that's why you, as listeners and people who sit in the pew, you got to be woke. You got to stay woke. Man, it's just so much. It's a lot, because when I hear stuff like this, it bothers me, because I got more stories I'm going to do. But I just wanted to follow up with this one, because I'm glad that, you know, this was pretty. I mean, within 5 months, he got sentenced. And he's going to serve his time. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Go off in the comments. Say whatever you want to say. It's your boy Dawson. Take care of yourself and each other. But most of all, please, please, please take care of yourself. Peace.